Hey, casual tutorial time. So I want to make a quick video since the World Yo-Yo Contest is 2 minutes out to describe the scoring system for people who are new to watching professional yo-yoing. So anyway, you might have seen a yo-yo freestyle before. Basically the way it works is that players perform to music for a set amount of time, and at the end, judges give scores based on a set of criteria, and the winner is the person who has the highest score. Boom, we're done. Video over. Now there's a little more detail than that, and so we'll go over the detail. Scores are done out of 100 points. 60% of your score is called technical execution, which is just how many tricks you can do. 20% is technical evaluation, which is how good your tricks are, and 20% of your score is performance evaluation, which is basically how good your performance is overall. Just pulling it up on my computer so I can see a score sheet. And then you lose points, you get deductions for certain types of big mistakes. Okay, so anyway, so just to repeat that, it's 60 points for how many tricks you can do, 20 points for how good the tricks are, 20 points for how good the performance is, and then flat deductions off of your total for big mistakes. Okay, and a big mistake is like if the yo-yo stops and you have to restart it, or if you have to throw away your yo-yo and get a new one. Okay, and now I'll go over each of those in a little bit more detail. Performance evaluation and technical evaluation are split up into separate categories within them that are each judged out of 5 points. So performance evaluation includes music use, body control, space use, and showmanship. Each of those are 5 points for a total of 20. And then for technical evaluation, it's split up into cleanliness, variation, rareness, and execution. Each of those 5 points for a total of 20. And those categories, there is a little bit of minutia and trickiness to each of those, but it's fairly self-explanatory. So if you're not a competitor, I wouldn't worry too much about what each of those individually means in too much more depth than just what the heading says. Technical execution, a little more minutia on that. Judges have counters, and they give you a positive click every time you do a trick, and a negative click every time you mess up. It's a little more complicated than that because some judges give you, well, different judges have different opinions on what tricks are worth a click. And often if you repeat a certain element or trick multiple times in a routine, you're less likely to get clicks as it goes farther along. So yeah, there's even a little bit of subjectivity there, but it's basically how many tricks you do. You know, one trick gets a click. A mess up gets a negative click. And then after all that, because that's probably not going to sum up to 60, what they do there is then after everyone has their positive clicks, you subtract your negative clicks, and that is your raw score. And then you divide everyone's raw score by the positive clicks of the highest scoring player, and then you multiply by 60. So if you're looking at a score sheet like I am right now, I have a score sheet over here and I'm looking at it. Basically, the way you can interpret it intuitively is that everyone's technical execution score out of 60 is the fraction of how well they did in proportion to the highest performing player. Okay, and so that's the detail. It is important to remember that technical execution is 60 points, 60% of your score. So it is advantageous to play really fast, but when you consider that technical evaluation is 20% of your score, and you might not get, well, you get negative clicks if you mess up, and you might not get clicks for repeated tricks. It's important that you do as many good tricks as you can, as quickly as you can. You know, that's how you'll win. Okay, and in case I didn't mention it anyway, so you add up your technical execution, your technical evaluation, and your performance evaluation sums up to a possible 100 points, then you get your major deductions, which you lose 1 point if the yo-yo stops and you have to restart it. You lose 3 points if you have to throw away your yo-yo and get a new one. And I think it's 9 points, I'm not 100% sure, if your yo-yo detaches from the string. Okay? And those are just flat numbers of points taken off of your end total. And then the player with the highest score at the end wins. You can also get disqualified if your music has uncensored profanities, and you can be disqualified if your yo-yo flies off into the crowd. The standard that's used is that if the yo-yo is behind the judges, then you're disqualified. Okay, and then a little bit of minutia about the way that the tournament is set up for the World Yo-Yo Contest. There are basically 4 rounds. The first round is called Wild Card, where players have 30 seconds to do as many tricks as possible. It's only judged on clicks. And then the top subset of those, it varies from year to year, but the top some number of those then get to go to the second round, which is called Prelims. And Prelims operates on a slightly simplified version of the rubric that we already talked about. You can just think of it as the same thing for now. And at the World Yo-Yo Contest, the people who get to go to Prelims instead of having to do Wild Card are the top 10 from the national contest. So like the top 10 players from the Japanese national contest or from the US national contest get to go to Prelims instead of having to do Wild Card. Wild Card is a bit of a meat grinder, so you'd be happy to not have to do Wild Card. Then the top some number of those get to go to semifinals. Semifinals, again, is on the same rubric as prelims, which is a slightly abbreviated version of the finals rubric. And the players who get to go to semis are the national champions, so like the US national champion from that year gets to go, and also the top 3 from major multinational contests. You can think of them as like continental champions. So like the top 3 from the European Yo-Yo Contest, the top 3 from the North American Yo-Yo Contest, and the top 3 from the Asia Pacific Yo-Yo Contest get to go straight to semifinals. And then the top subset of those, it's usually around 20, then get to compete in finals. And the only person who gets seeded directly to finals is the winner of the previous year's World Yo-Yo Contest. That's good. And then just in the last minute, I will mention a little bit of minutia about the way that the divisions are set up. There are 5 major divisions, 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A. You can do a little research to see the way that, like what those are. There's also some other divisions. There's an artistic performance division, which is scored a little bit differently. There is a women's division in the World Yo-Yo Contest, which is judged on the same rubric as prelims, so it's not quite as prestigious as the full World Yo-Yo Contest. And there's also an over 40s division. But anyway, some other minutia about the main divisions. For 2A, that's two-handed looping. You only get points if both yo-yos are moving, so tricks where both hands are doing things. For 3A, it's the same sort of detail. You only get points if both yo-yos are spinning. And for 5A, you only get points if the yo-yo and the counterweight are both moving. So that's why you see a lot of tricks like the electric fan in 5A, where the counterweight, for example, is just spinning, and then the hand with the yo-yo is doing other things, because you need to have them both moving to get points. So anyway, hopefully that wasn't too long. I'll try to put like chapter, timestamps in the description. But anyway, if you liked it, thanks for watching. I hope you watch as much of the World Yo-Yo Contest as you can. And anyway, if you have comments, feel free to leave them in the comments. And Yo-Yo Used is a gem classic. Thanks.